First, no, we're not a cult.
I was just like interesting to watch how they would like with the scary music and stuff, how they would like kind of switch the story in a way.
Never in my life here in the community have Jeff and Shaleia ever talked to me about my gender identity at all.
No one talks about it when Tony Robbins charges thousands of dollars for a motivational speaking event or any of that stuff. Cool, wonderful. Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm really looking forward to diving into this conversation and getting to chat with you all about your perspective on the recent events and the media around Twin Flames Universe. Our really beloved community and getting to share our side of the story. Feels really good to be here today and to be in this space. And so, I feel like I just want to kind of start off with like, what is our side of the story of this? And if you guys would like to share some stories of, how TFU has actually positively impacted you in your life and what it's really done for you.
TFU has changed everything about my life. Before coming into this work, I was actually like really not okay mentally and physically, and I actually didn't know if I was gonna live or not. It was that intense at times. And since coming into this work, I've been able to heal my mind. My physical body is better. I feel way more alive. I feel purposeful. Like I know myself on such a deeper level than I ever could have if I wasn't here. And that's why I choose to be here every day, because I see the progress. It's not just me talking. My life has changed drastically, and it actually, like, the teachings here literally saved my life, and I have a lot to give to that. And to Jeff and Shaleia for that. Like, it feels like an honor to be here. It feels like an honor to share this work and to help others, come out of their, darkness, because that's what's happening. And I'm watching it. And it's, it makes me emotional, because it's such a profound thing. And it's so like under the radar what we're doing. And like, we're very like humble about that. And, to anybody who, feels that, call on their heart to, be healed or to find the tool, like the tool is here and it's safe to try it out for yourself. That's
Beautiful.
it.
Thank you for sharing that.
I can share. So I actually would consider myself a very normal person. So I grew up very grounded and stable and very logical. And when I found Twin Flame Universe and I like analyzed everything. It's not something that I just jumped into. And I, was married, had 2 children, was, had my own business, was, really accomplished. I, on the outside, my life looked really like good, but on the inside, I was miserable. So I had a lot of anxiety. And even though I was fit, like exercise wise, I had tightenings in my chest every single day from the anxiety and the stress. And I was really, really unhappy. I would actually say that I was depressed. And when I started on this path and I started learning how to do the mirror exercise, I found relief. Like I physically started to feel better. And that's what made me continue. It was the very first time in my entire life that I had tried anything that gave me that relief. And my relationship with my kids has improved significantly. So prior to this work, like I was maybe a little bit of a crazy mom because like I was really controlling. Like, so I thought like my worth and my value was determined by like my kids' like success in their sports or school or whatever they were doing. And so when I started on learning these teachings, I unconditional love. I was like, what is that? Like, I had never really experienced that. And then I started applying that to myself and to my kids. And so the pressure that I was putting on my kids, like it changed. It completely changed them because I took that pressure off and allowed them to be who they were. So my relationship with my kids started to change. And because I was so unhappy and so disconnected from any sort of true purpose, I really felt at that time that like I had to literally suffer through life. Like I just had to struggle and suffer. I felt like I wasn't in power to make any changes. And it was through these teachings that I realized that's actually not true. And just learning how to, feel my feelings and to love myself, it's changed everything in my life. So it's changed all my relationships as a result. So I've had nothing but positive experiences.
Thank you. That's very moving. It's beautiful. Yeah. Amazing. Two amazing stories. Woo. Wow. Yeah. And that just goes to show, like, TFU changes you in the best way. It changes you to become a better version of yourself. And that's been my experience as well. Anyone else like to share a little bit about theirs?
Yeah, I'd like to share. Yeah, Twin Flames universe, just like Ryan and Samara were saying, it completely like transformed my life on all levels. Like, yeah, I was like depressed before I came into the work. The whole Twin Flame journey. I'm sure a lot of people understand that. And Twin Flames universe just like completely like it's hard to put into words. It's not something that you can really explain in words. It's like a feeling, like a shift in your consciousness, and you just like gradually start feeling better and better as you do your inner work, like your inner healing work and stuff like that. Being able to like heal your trauma and all of that stuff that like really holds you back, like you're able to really like move past it and not be stuck in it. So for me, like they were saying, it's just completely transformed everything on all levels. It's like beyond words. So yeah.
I feel like for me, it's like the self-empowerment piece. I used to live like in a way that I was like a victim to my circumstance. And I feel like with this work, I could really like, I can have dreams and work towards them. Wow. Like I don't have to live in this way that I'm living, like crippled by my circumstance sort of thing, right? So that's been a really game changer. And I would say my life is pretty good. Yeah. So there you go. How about you, my wife?
I resonate, of course, with everyone that's shared so far. Prior to finding the teachings, I felt, Ryan spoke to it perfectly too. It was not really knowing that you wanted to continue with your life because I felt so much lack of purpose and meaning. And I just remember feeling just miserable and down and out and really like seeking and purpose and wanting to work towards something and have meaning. And so when I found TFU, it like lit a light in my heart or a fire in my soul. And I really I was like, this is it. The very first video I found of Jeff and Shaleia, I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is what I've been looking for. And my life has changed immensely because of the teachings. Have my twin flame and harmonious union, married, and just cultivating a life together of love and joy and happiness. And it's a stark difference from what it was before. So yeah, I'm very grateful. I think laughing.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, for me, similar to Tamara, like my life looked pretty good on paper, but something was missing for a really long time. And so I went out to go and find that. I went on like about a 2-year spiritual journey after leaving a relationship that never felt right in my heart. And that led me to, therapy and to healing retreats and to yoga and meditation, all this stuff, searching for God really. And maybe reevaluate my whole relationship with God and really choose in my heart to find him. Like I was gonna find God. Like I was gonna on God find God. And so I kept searching, and then eventually, you know, my journey led me to Twin Flames Universe, and it all clicked into place. All these realizations I had was like what I was learning in TFU and discovering here, and then everything felt better, you know, from there. I finally had this tool to regulate myself and to build a life that I wanted to live, and that I wasn't like just, you know, meant to be like a spinster. Because honestly, I got to that point where I was like, all right, I'm just going to be with God. Like, you're my man. I'll be with you my whole life. And then, yeah, met Dylan. Now I'm in harmonious union. Like, we have a beautiful life together, and he's behind the camera right now and doing a great job, and we're living our purpose. And so everything has really changed for me, and just keeps getting better and better. What do you love most about Twin Flames Universe, and what do you love most about your experience with the community and being involved here?
I feel like it's the family and the family feeling and togetherness, and we're all working towards a unified vision and goal, and there's a lot of passion and purpose in that, and we just have fun every day. It's just a joy to wake up and know that you get to partner with those that you love, and continuing to move towards that shared vision. Yeah.
Well, I feel like, you know, that fun part and being together with someone who's, you know, moving towards the same things. We're kind of like a football club, right? In the league, you know, we're, you know, going for that, you know, what do you call it? Right, what do you call it? The championship, the cup, you know, World Cup. Yeah. You know, so I feel like, you know, when you share experiences in that, right? And you build and you have fun together and do all that stuff. So, yeah, it's great. It's a great team to be on. So.
It is a team. Everybody has their role on the team, right? And we all have such unique design, and yeah, it's a cool thing. Like, it's a very diverse group, and there's so many stories and so much to learn about one another and from one another. And, you know, most of us feel like we've known each other our whole lives and we just meet. You know, it's a very interesting group. Yeah, it's only growing and becoming more of what it naturally is. It's beautiful.
For me personally, it's been very life-changing. Me and Manuela decided to roommate together here in Traverse City, and it's been extremely easy to transition our lives together. Both of us being unionists, like if we make each other upset, we don't blame each other, we just heal with the mirror exercise. It's been extremely easy just living with her. I've had a roommate before and it was a disaster, but it's not like that at all, living with Manuela. So yeah, it's just been extremely easy living together, just very peaceful.
It's like divine friendships, right? Yeah. Friendships based on unconditional love and responsibility for your life, and, you know, not lashing out.
It's extremely, I think it's just very meaningful to me because we value the same thing, and we're working towards the same thing together. So yeah, that just means a lot to me. Yeah, I would say like being around the community and like is like very different than being around like anyone else. Like it's very peaceful. Like Destiny was saying, we all have like the same like core values and like vision. So it's just very peaceful to like align with people like that. And yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Twin Flames universe and the community is my twin flame. Yeah, being in harmonious twin flame union and having the support needed to maintain that and grow that and expand it and share it, I think is like a vital component of Twin Flames universe. And it's a gift. It's an incredible life to have your perfect partner with you and your companion in life. And it's something that like I really desired when I found the community, and I just was having, you know, disaster after disaster after disaster in relationships, and I'm like, the common denominator here is me, none of these dudes. So I knew like I had to change and I had to look at me and find a different way, and I really am in love with the twin flame journey, and I'm in love with my twin flame and my man, and like I love living our life together, and that is something that is 100% a product of Twin Flames universe, and I'm deeply grateful for it.
Yeah, I guess I'd also like to say, like, I've been on the swim journey for like 5 years now, and like 3 years with Twin Flames Universe, and like I recently like manifested my twin flame union, and it's only been like 2 weeks, and I'm like, wow, this is the best relationship I've ever had, you know? I'm like, whoa, this is so fun, this is great, you know? So that's, like Chrissy was saying, like a really wonderful product of the teaching. So I'm like, yay, you know?
I will add that I had an acquaintance came up to me after I had started on this journey, and they said, like, can I just ask you something, like what have you been doing? Because like that really high stress person, I started to like, you know, relax a little bit, and like Ryan said, every single day I feel better than I did the day before. But when that acquaintance asked me what I had been doing, I was like, oh my God, I found the secret to life. Like I found the secret. And that's when there was so much negativity after the docudramas came out. Like I felt like really attacked because, you know, I'm in my 50s and I had spent like all of my life really unhappy, really like stressed, like no purpose, even though I had, you know, created a career in one direction. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I had no purpose that I felt like happy about. And I really felt that this was the first thing that allowed me to really live, like to really live and to take, I didn't even realize I had the power to create my life. So it changed everything in my life. You know, they've done a study before, like if you take like a homeless person and you bring them off the streets and, you know, you give them, let's say you know, give them a house and you pay for a house, they will most times go right back to the street. And that's like the fear. That's like where I think some people may have a hard time with the journey, is like we're sort of like, you know, creatures of habit, or changing profound things in your life is difficult. So even in my own life, there's some times where I'm like, you want to like go right back into that pattern that you know doesn't make you happy, and to keep that, you know, like sometimes it's easier to stay in a toxic relationship because it's familiar or common, and to make the change seems a little bit harder. But this is what these teachings have done, is to, you know, show you how to love yourself and how to make those really profound changes, which will bring you that peace. Mm-hmm. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I feel like it's my favorite part is like we're bringing heaven to earth, right? I'll just say it. Like that's what we're doing by making heaven happen inside of ourselves, by bringing peace and love within ourselves. Like that's what's happening. You know, that's how we create a beautiful world for all. And so, and also my twin flame, of course, and all my friends here and this beautiful community and volunteering. And there's so much, right? There's something for everyone. Everyone has a part here. Everyone has a place here. And yeah, it just feels like Ryan was saying as well, like very divinely orchestrated and just very like everything, you know, works together so seamlessly, nonstop to create something beautiful. I feel like I just want to kind of start off with the elephant in the room, if you will, the question of, you know, how we all feel about Twin Flames Universe being viewed as a cult, or being called this cult that we've seen in the docudramas and throughout the media recently.
I think, first, no, we're not a cult. Like, that's just the first thing. I think that, like, what we saw in the media was just, like, a salacious attempt with, like, cherry-picking thousands of videos, like, to get particular moments to tell a particular narrative. That just really didn't tell our story. I mean, if you look at what came out, it really didn't even involve anyone that wasn't a handful of people. There are thousands of students in TFU. There's only about 5 to 15 that are utilized in the particular documents, or docudramas is what we like to call them. And so I think that, like, it just, you know, put us in the wrong light, in a negative light. That's just simply not true. And it's an incredibly beautiful organization, a wonderful spiritual community where like-minded people come together to discuss and expand spirituality, and through their twin flame. You know, and I think it's a beautiful thing to do. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of, you know, space to explore yourself and figure out who you are and what you desire to do and what your purpose is, and being supported in that. I find it to be a very loving community.
For me, when I found this information out, and like when I first found the community, it was funny because I was like, whoa, this is like what I've been looking for throughout my spiritual awakening. I was like awakening to all these truths that then I then found in Twin Flames universe, that they had already kind of had the game plan laid out of what I was awakening and coming to realize, that I had this ultimate lover, that God really has this beautiful plan for all of his, people, all of his children here. And so off of that, I also was a lover of true crime back in my day. And I really enjoyed true crime, and I loved listening to true crime podcasts. And so I was really interested in cults. I thought they were so fascinating, and I was just really interested in them. And so when all this came out, it was really laughable to me in a way, because I had already known such in-depth info about cults and true crime and all of this stuff. Like, I knew the inner workings of them. And so it was like an absolutely like really surprising accusation, because none of that correlated to what I was finding in TFU. Like, literally none of that. And so that was my piece of really what, like, it was just a surprise. I was like, really, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, from someone who's like just been into that area of life at one point in my life. So I would love to hear really how it felt for you guys when you saw the docudramas, and like, how did you all move through that?
When I first, saw the docudrama, I knew it was, completely a lie, because I've been a part of this community since 2018, and I've been at every live event we've had. I feel completely better about myself since being here. I've gained friendships, that are a lifetime from being here. And yeah, I just feel like the docudramas were just a attack on everything that, we have all done to get to this place as a community, and loved ourselves, to the position we're in to create something bigger than ourselves. And I just, at first I was just worried about what others would think about me, like family and friends from, outside the community. And there, like, a lot of them were very, worried about me, but I hadn't talked to them in years, so that was strange. And then, my family, there were things that came up with them that I was able to obviously just speak direct to them on, and we got through it because, my family knows who I am, and they know that I know myself very well. And so they're not, right away they were like, okay, like, you're good, you're safe. And I think that was like the biggest issue with this, documentary, was that it was really just an attack on my being, is what it felt like. And I didn't know how to handle that at first, but thank God for the tools that I have here in this community. I was able to, overcome those feelings. So yeah, that was my experience. I just felt like there was no question or understanding of who I was as a person. It was just, this is who you are. And I was attacked on social media. There was like big podcasts, like, watching my stories on Instagram, and like all this like attention was happening at once. And I just was like, what is happening? Like, I was so in another element. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't know how to, at first, have a say in that. So it was just better to block those people and just continue to, feel my feelings, and work through my emotions in that situation. And that's what I did. And, I feel like as a community, we've all come out of this on the other side so much stronger. And it's just showing us more of who we really are, and that we are good, and that this is something special that we all share in and that we all love.
At first, I had to kind of like prepare myself for watching it, just because I knew like that it was going to be released like at a certain date, and I had to like emotionally prepare myself, just because I knew what was going to be said was not accurate of like the truth of the community and my experience in the community. So yeah, like, you know, I just had to watch it, and I wanted to because of course a bunch of people were texting me about it and like, oh, have you heard about this, like, you know, this cult thing? So I was like, well, let me watch it, right? I don't want to be like blind to it, like I'm like under a rock or something. So yeah, it was just like interesting to watch how they would like, with, you know, the scary music and stuff, how they would like kind of switch the story in a way. But yeah, it was a lot to kind of emotionally like process, because like I know I'm a person that likes to share about like Twin Flames on social media, and I have like a small little Instagram account with like 100 followers, and I still received like a bunch of hate comments, like hundreds of them. I was like, why? Like, you know, so that was a lot. And then of course having like family friends be like, oh, you're Nicole, you're in this, or like having your siblings like kind of being like, oh, did you see she's in a cult now? So it was like what Ryan was saying, it kind of felt like an attack on my character, but of course it's something that you just have to work through. So thanks to the tools that we have here to like love ourselves and heal these upsets, I was able to just work through it and know that like I'm good, and yeah, like I'm not like brainwashed, you know? I'm just a regular person that has like developed and grown a lot. Like I've been able to heal significantly. So yeah, like I'll always be grateful for that, for this community. So yeah, I'm just grateful to be here and be able to like share the truth of the community, and yeah, all the love that I've received here.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to me, you know, to have this whole, you know, array of accusations come out against all of us, right, in our own way. And the thing was that, also back to like my first point there with like, you know, it was so funny to me that this would possibly be considered a cult, because the only teaching that's taught here, and it's said time and time again, is love yourself, feel your feelings, love yourself, feel your feelings, love yourself. Like that's it, that's literally it. And the way that was, you know, extrapolated on to create this whole like horror film was insane to me. I'm just gonna say it, right, because this is our conversation, we can say what we want to say here. It was insane to me. And so I'd love to hear, you know, what other practices or what other like teachings that Twin Flames Universe has that we all practice and like have found really helpful that these docudramas got really wrong. Because I think that's really important to touch on.
Well, I feel like first of all, it's the mirror exercise. It's been presented as a tool to abuse yourself, basically, rather than something to love yourself. But if you try it out, I think most of us have tried it out at some point in time. Like we have experienced, all of us, some good things happening from that. So I think that's kind of like the first one. That's a big one that stood out to me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember one of the first times I did the mirror exercise. It feels like, for those who don't know, maybe that are, you know, interested in knowing what it feels like a wave of peace washing over you and washing into your heart in a place that was like feeling really bad. So would anyone like to explain how you get to that peace that I was just talking about, how you actually do the mirror exercise?
So with the mirror exercise, you're taking responsibility for that place within you that is hurt, that is upset, and you're just loving yourself there. You're going to that part of you who's upset, and you're giving them all the love they need in that space until you feel complete peace. So it's like an inner child healing, you know, it's you going to that hurt part of you who needs care, who needs love. It's not about blaming yourself or, you know, attacking yourself or holding on to guilt. It's actually the opposite. And this tool is actually what transcends the bad feeling.
For me, in regards to the docudrama, which I found they just really didn't get right, is that they made it seem like the mirror exercise is a gaslighting tool, or like where you're taking responsibility for somebody else's behavior. And that's just simply not true. What the mirror exercise does is help you move through your feelings based on an experience that you had, not why somebody else did something to you or what happened, but it's generally about how you feel about a particular experience in your life, so you can empower yourself, move through those feelings, come into peace, and then act upon your life from that place of peace. That I think is really an important component to that healing modality.
I think that's that's one of the main things that the docudramas got wrong. But a lot of other things, you know, include like twin flame matchmaking, like no thank you. What else? Like there's these things about you know, with you know, transitioning even, which is a really sensitive subject that I would love for us to touch on today as well. And so, yeah, maybe if someone here would like to share their story on, you know, is that true? Does TFU promote transition coercion, or what? How would you call that? You know, and yeah, really set the record straight.
Yeah, I have some things to say about that. I've been in this community since early 2018. Been a coach since 2019. Never in my life here in the community have Jeff and Shaleia ever talked to me about my gender identity at all. It's just been me exploring myself, basically. It's never been any discussion. It's just me loving myself into who I am, basically. Yeah, so for me, it's been like, I can kind of, with my personal journey, it's been sort of like I compare it to when you're, you know, in the closet as gay, right? You're like, don't want to look at that, don't want to see that. I don't know, kind of like you're not wanting to approach that part of yourself, basically. And so that was basically my life before that. When my teenage year, I'll be very, kind of very uncomfortable. I had a little bit of a deeper voice, and I was very uncomfortable with that. Like, oh, what if someone believes I'm a man or something, or masculine? Or I was extremely terrified of being seen as masculine at all. So I would go to lengths to be perceived as very feminine. So I would be wearing all the makeups and all the things and dresses and all that stuff, which is... But I feel like I was quite grown up when I came to this community, and I feel like it's just allowed me to experience myself, coming into my own experience, and I've taken my time with it. I've been here for a lot of years, but I've taken my time with my process. And I think there was also someone saying that, well, everyone is like forced to do these like surgeries and stuff. Personally, to date, I not have one gender affirming surgery, so that's just not my experience at all. I have not been forced, like I said, like Jeff and Shaleia never had a conversation with me about having all surgeries or changing my identity in any way, basically. So, and I feel like I'm more myself now than I ever been, and if that's not something to be celebrated, I don't know. So, yeah.
Wow.
Maybe Gabriel has some more insights here as well on his journey.
Yeah, I can share. I'm Gabriel. I'm a certified ascension coach with TFU. I've been in the community since, I think, July 2018, and an ascension coach from 2019 as well. I was guided to like explore myself, and that was about the extent of, hey, explore how you feel, who you are. And as I explored, I started to find things out about myself that didn't quite like fit with how I was trying to mold myself as a feminine, as a female. I didn't quite feel right in my body, and I didn't quite feel right in the way that there were just things that just didn't feel right in the way that I was expressing myself. And I was encouraged to just be myself, love myself, and do what felt good to me, no matter what the outcome was. And, you know, that was, from my experience, just exploring internally what felt good, how it felt good to express myself. And it led me to the conclusion that I was a divine masculine. And no one forced me to change my name, change my gender, change my have surgeries. All of that came from a natural desire to align with who I am. And it was, the more I healed into myself, the more I felt like, of course I want to be myself. Of course I want the way that I look and feel on the outside to match what I feel within. And yeah, that was just all kind of a process that I went through. I will say I did feel, safe to explore that in the community, which I hadn't felt safe to explore just with family and friends previously. It's almost as if I didn't even have the words or the space to explore that. But this was such a loving community that it was just like, be yourself and we'll accept you no matter what you decide. Do what feels good for you.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you guys both for sharing. It's really a powerful experience, that you've had. And I feel like it's really nice to hear that side of the coin, which is, what we're all after, which is self-exploration and true self-expression in this community at TFU. And that's what we support. And, the other thing I want to touch on today is the whole matchmaking thing, which, I know it was touched on briefly in the docudramas and stuff. And it's really funny to me because personally, my twin flame and I, we grew up together. We went to the same high school, the same college. Our families knew each other, all this stuff. And we even had crushes on each other at one point in our life, like years before Twin Flames Universe even existed. And what brought us together wasn't being told we were twin flames, right? It was simply a spiritual journey of awakening to our true selves. Personally, I don't believe it's possible to be match made with a twin flame because, they're what a twin flame is it's someone that's created specifically for you, and no one besides God can create someone for you or bring you together with them. So if anyone else would like to share something on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I would say that certain people may appear to be like kind of grouped together, I guess, as twin flames. We had a kind of experience where we certainly didn't know that we were twin flames,
Right.
and we certainly weren't pursuing each other, right? Like,
we were living
pursuing,
together.
others,
Yeah.
right? And so it would have been, I would say, very beneficial for everyone involved if we were twin flames. Like, we're both very,
We are twin flames, but us knowing that
you
we
know
are
what I'm
twin
saying?
flames.
Like, it would have been like,
Yeah, it would have helped
a
a lot.
super benefit. It would have been like
super
great
easier
if that were
if
the
we figured
case.
that out
You know what I'm
sooner.
saying? Like, we're both very, self-motivated and driven and like professionals and whatever. And so, as it happens, we are, right? And like, that's still something that, like, when we found out that we were twin flames, we had to explore for ourselves to see, like, it wasn't just like you're twin flames and like now you, have to do this and that, or, the storybook is written. Like, we had to explore that for ourselves. We had to work through a lot of things. And we really had to find it within ourselves, more so than just being told that was the truth, right? Similar to a gender, like, you can't just tell someone they're a man or woman and then they have to change. Like, that's something that they have to find within themselves and inherently want, right? Like, they have to choose that. We have to choose our twin flame, even if we know who they are or not. Like, you have to choose that person and choose to work with them, choose to relate with them, and choose to move forward with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a decision.
Kristen, would you mind explaining to the folks on the couch how you guys met or what the situation was?
Oh, yeah. So Jason and I met in Twin Flame Ascension School. Jason started Twin Flame Ascension School first. I started a bit after. And we were both life students in Twin Flame Ascension School. And Jay was in Life Purpose class the whole time. And I came in very close to the end of Life Purpose class. And so through Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose class, we kind of, like all the students, we talked a lot. And about when it starting to round to the end, we were talking a lot more. We were working with each other and doing a lot of our spiritual work together. We were also working in MAP together. And so like we really started partnering deep in Matt together. And then when TFAS ended, we really went deeper there. I needed a lot of help. So Jay moved in with me in Missouri, and we were just working on purpose. And then we found out that we should, we were guided to explore being twin flames. And yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, would you have explored that without that invitation to
Yeah, well, that's an
explore?
interesting question. I think that I was having feelings, I was having attractive feelings towards Jason, but like because I thought somebody else was my twin flame, I was, really like, sitting with that or putting a boundary up with it at the time. And then when I was invited to look at you as my twin flame, like all that went away, and I was very, very relieved because who I thought what my twin flame was in another country. So that was a challenging component there for me. But I mean, what about you? You kind of had it in your mind that we were twin flames before I did. I remember you were on a jog or something, and you were like, "Oh man, I think we're twin flames."
I don't remember exactly. I just remember there was something came into my consciousness that like the person I was pursuing was not, right? And I didn't know who was or what the situation was, but it was, there was a change there.
Yeah, 100%. I think when we met in real life in New York for the first time was like the biggest shift, because after meeting in New York for the first time, we basically communicated daily. And so like it was just a natural progression for us. I think that it was perfect for us because we had to work through a lot and really come into a foundation with ourselves in order to feel confident enough to move into a relationship with each other. And so I think our journey was perfect for us, just like everyone else's twin flame journey is perfect for them.
All right. Thank you, Jason and Chrissy, for sharing your story. It's really beautiful to hear how true twin flames come into union and harmonious union. And I would love to hear from Adam and Brianne and your story. I know it's really juicy as well. And yeah, how did you guys meet? How did you come to recognize each other as twin flames?
Yeah, Adam had reached out to me through Facebook Messenger, and it was 2018, right? And we just kind of developed a friendship from there. And I did notice that there was an attraction towards Adam, but at the time we were pursuing other people as our twin flame person. And so we had those boundaries up with each other. We were just respecting our journeys and, what God was telling us at the time. And yeah, do you want to add a piece to this?
I feel like you held on more to your twin flame person than I did. I would like drop that as a opportunity. Well, I feel like I never met anyone who was so much like me. It was just like weird. Like, whoa, how are we so similar? It was crazy. And I feel like we just got closer as we did our healing work and all that stuff. And we just kept, meeting in all those spaces.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, and I resonated with Jason's experience too, because I eventually come to the awareness through my healing that the person that I was pursuing as my twin flame, it was not the person. And so in that, I found a lot of relief in my heart, and I knew that God was going to reveal to me who he created for me, and Adam was on the back side of that. Yeah. And so then, everything quickly come together. As a result, we came in a harmonious twin flame union, and we got married shortly after. Yeah.
Very cool. Wonderful story. Yeah, and it's funny, as you guys are talking here, I'm just thinking about the logic behind it all, right? And The Bachelor actually came to my mind, and I'm like, okay, like how many bachelor couples who are they're set up, right, in a way, like they're match made, they through this people, and okay, then you pick one. How many of them are still together? Probably like 2%, I don't know. But then when it comes to Twin Flames universe and the discovery of a true twin flame connection, they stay together, right? If they continue to do the work and they continue to love themselves and, practice what we preach here, they stay together. And you can't force that, right? You can't force a connection to be a true connection. And so I just wanted to add that piece to what everyone shared here. And it kind of brings us to the next piece, there's a few elephants in the room, so we're at the next one now. And this one is all about, Jeff and Shaleia, our teachers. And really I want to touch on, the way Jeff speaks throughout TFAS, Twin Flame Ascension School, and Life Purpose class, and how, the docudramas really portrayed him as harsh in a lot of instances. And Shaleia as more of like this, meek victim kind of, which we all know not to be the case because we've seen the, what is it, maybe 3,000 hours of classes that were actually recorded, and then like the 2 minutes of clips taken from them. So we know what actually happened. But yeah, let's just kind of dive into that. Does anyone have a piece to share there?
What the docudramas failed to see is that, or show, is that Jeff is actually just portraying the divine masculine in the most healthy way. And he's actually just showing us, how to be ourselves, right, as people. And yeah, everything that, you see in the classes is just an expression of divine love. And yeah, he's very fun. He's very bold. He expresses himself from an authentic space. There's no hiding with Jeff.
In those instances where he is calling someone out, right? And that's what he's doing. And we all know he's calling out the ego in someone. Right. And the ego is fear. So he's calling out the fear within someone, and he's saying, that's not what you want. You don't want that fear. And really what I found it to be in my life and what I've learned is it's just discipline. The same way you discipline like, a toddler when they're about to burn their hand on a stove. You say, no, don't do that. That's the same thing you do with the ego. You say, no, stop it. That is not you. You are love. You are peace. You are purity and innocence. And so, would anyone else like to share more on that? And maybe how you felt the first time you watched something like that happen with Jeff and Shaleia while you were watching TFAS? Because I know me, I was triggered at points throughout TFAS because I was like, whoa, what's going on here? But then I watched to the end and got the healing, right? And that's what the audience watching the docudramas didn't get. They didn't get the healing piece at the end. They just got the bleh. And that's not what it was. So yeah, does anyone have a piece to share there?
Yeah, I can add in, listening to Jeff and Shaleia throughout the classes, I found it incredibly relieving to see them just being themselves authentically. And like you said, calling out the ego. And I felt like I could really trust that and really relax into the relationship. And it felt, like you said, very healing. So for me, it was just, wow, they're being themselves completely. And I can do that too. So it was very encouraging for my own self. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love what you said there about being yourself, because that's really what they're role modeling, right? It's just pure authenticity and pure self-expression. And that's kind of like once leads me to touch on the point about Shaleia, where Shaleia throughout the classes may be seen as, quiet or something, or what was portrayed in the docudramas as like, this victim where Jeff's, walking all over her or something. But that isn't the truth that we all know. And if anyone would like to speak on who Shaleia really is and, why she does carry herself the way that she does, would be really nice.
If you watch Twin Flame Ascension School, like Shaleia always talks about how she just likes to kind of sit back and relax and allow Jeff to do most of the talking. So I feel like that's just her being herself. It's not that she's like being like shunned or something, or whatever the word may be. She's just being her authentic self and how she likes to relate to her like husband, her twin flame. So yeah, it's just, that's what I have to say on that.
When watching the classes, you can definitely see through the progression of them, Shaleia will naturally take leadership in a class when she feels called to, when she feels comfortable to. And Jeff will sit back and just allow her to speak and be herself when she feels comfortable doing so. It's never you have to sit there and do what you need to do. It's really just she's allowed to express herself fully and completely in the way that she feels good. And then when she feels good just sitting back, she's allowed to do that too. And he accommodates that. It's very harmonious in that way.
I think it's also about understanding twin flames a little bit and the dynamic of twin flames with one consciousness. And so the consciousness is speaking through Jeff for their union. The union consciousness is speaking through Jeff. And Shaleia is holding space in a lot of that times. And then, like you discussed, when Shaleia takes the lead in their consciousness and their union, Jeff is sitting back and holding the space and grounding the energy. So there's a component of understanding the twin flame dynamic that just might not be there. It might be confusing a lot of people. And that's just something you can learn over time, being involved in a healthy twin flame community and learning how to interact with your twin flame in a healthy way. On this particular area of ego and uprooting ego, it is not necessarily pleasant all the time. Uprooting ego is it's a spiritual component that we're doing in TFAS as live students, but it's not necessarily always pleasant. One thing to always remember is everyone was willing to be there. They chose to be there, right? It was all online, so everyone was choosing to be there, and we all knew exactly why we were there, and that was continuously discussed in the courses over time. Like, we always knew what we were doing. They always would request permission. Do you really want to work on this? Is this something you want to look at? And if it was something really sensitive, they always checked in consistently if we wanted to go deeper and address it. So I don't think that there was any time that I ever felt uncomfortable about the way Jeff spoke. I actually felt relieved that he was so expressive and authentic. Like, I thought it was really cool he swore, because I was like, wow, like, you know, like, that's nice that, like, we can just be ourselves. And I found that very refreshing versus having grown up in a Catholic family. You know, I thought it was kind of refreshing to it was an example of just being your authentic self.
Yeah, it really took the fear out of it, right? Like, by just simply speaking to the fear, speaking to that ego, it didn't have to hide anymore. It could be brought into the light of love. And that's, you know, what I experienced throughout watching the classes was, even through these moments where students were going through something tough, it always led to deeper love, right? And to a breakthrough and to the next level of peace in their life. So that was really great. And personally, I'm a very driven, very motivated person, and I appreciate a leader that, and, like, you know, someone that's going to support me in becoming a better person and not coddle me. I don't need to be coddled, right? I don't need to be, you know, like, my hand does not need to be held. I want to be shown what I'm doing so that I can fix it and so that I can align with more love. And so that's really, I feel like completes that piece. Is Jeff God?
You know, numerous examples that you don't see in a docudrama, that you don't ever hear about, of people, you know, just leaving, and, you know, it's like, okay.
All together, and she saw what, you know, how I moved through upsets. She kind of felt a little bit more relief and peace just knowing that I'm in the right hands.